Good evening, I'm Prasadan. This is KiniNews. Here's a quiz. What's our Prime Minister's actual name? If you said Muhyiddin, wrong. It's actually Mahiaddin. But don't feel bad if you got it wrong. Even the civil service may not have known this, which explains the need for an internal memo.
The Prime Minister's office has instructed all civil servants to use Muhyiddin Yassin's legal name in government documents effective immediately. But you're probably wondering, isn't his name Muhyiddin? Not quite. The name on his identification card is Mahiaddin Md Yasin. Officials were informed about this new directive in a June 3rd internal memo issued by the Prime Minister's office, or PMO. Based on internal memo issued by the PMO, all written correspondence and official government documents that need to use the Prime Minister's name or signature are to use the Prime Minister's official name, Mahiaddin. Muhyiddin's Chief Private Secretary, Marzuki Mohamad, who issued the memo, confirmed the authenticity of the document with Malaysia Kini. This directive comes after the Shah Alam High Court in April rejected a preventive detention order issued by Muhyiddin because the latter had signed off as Muhyiddin instead of Mahiaddin. With the order quashed, the court thus allowed a habeas corpus application by a man who had been detained under the Dangerous Drugs or Special Preventive Measures Act while Muhyiddin was the acting Home Minister.
It's the year 2021 and smartphones have come a long way. Now that many of us are forced to stay at home, it's become even more important, especially for students who are following classes online. But is something better than nothing? That's how the purifier MB has defended the distribution of thousands of low-spec phones to students. Perak Menteri Besar Sarani Muhammad said today that the 20,000 low-spec smartphones to be distributed by the state government to students are better than nothing. The State Executive Council had approved the contribution after it was briefed by the foundation and determined that the phone model was suitable for home-based teaching and learning.
Lebih baik ada daripada tiada. Tak? Lebih baik ada daripada tiada. Jadi, kalau tidak ada sumbangan YTI Foundation ini, bermakna ribuan anak-anak orang B40 tidak ada satu peranti pun untuk mereka ikuti PDPR. Sekarang ada. Dengan spek yang ada itu mencukupi untuk ikut PDPR.
The Yes Altitude 3 Android-powered smartphones from YTL Communications come with a 1.3 GHz processor with 1 GB of RAM and 8 GB of storage. In an online press conference today, Sarani explained that the phones are not procured using public funds, but in fact were contributed by the YTL Foundation. The devices were given for free to students from B40 families under the state's Tuition Cikgu Sarani initiative that was named after Sarani. He added that the state had already received 13,000 out of the 20,000 promised devices. Each phone comes bundled with a 12-month data plan. Before we go to our next story, here at Kini TV, we're all about keeping those in power accountable. And being this independent can be costly. And right now, we need a free press more than ever. This is why we need your help to continue doing what we do. Click on the link in the description and find out how you can contribute. And all the names you see below, those are the people who helped us in May. Okay, now back to business. The National Recovery Plan hasn't seemed to convince everyone.
A day after Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin announced the COVID-19 recovery plan, a medical expert has already expressed concern that it may lead to another wave. Federation of Islamic Medical Associations Advisory Council Chairperson Dr. Musa Muhammad Nordin said the plan was random in nature and not based on good science. In a post on Twitter, the specialist said the plan will not mitigate the pandemic, but it will only buy time to later unleash another COVID-19 wave when the movement control order is eased. Putrajaya expects to move to Phase 3 of the 4-phase recovery plan by September. In the third phase, Parliament and the social sector will reopen if the average daily cases dip under 2,000 and the vaccination rate hits 40%. By November, the government expects a full reopening of the economy if the average daily cases can fall below 500 and the vaccination rate reaches 60%. Musa said an exit plan meant mitigating the pandemic, which requires speedy find, test, trace, isolate, and support efforts. He added that the determination to reopen the economy should be science-based and realistic. Meanwhile, Iskandar Puteri MP Lim Kit Siang said the recovery plan appeared to be a reaction to the Conference of Rulers rather than an actual exit plan. On the other hand, government-linked companies, namely MyHSR Corporation, Bank Simpanan Nasional, Permodalan Nasional, and SME Bank Group have responded positively to the recovery plan.
Kepong MP Lim Lip Eng was left in an awkward position yesterday after the person he was trying to help ended up changing his story.
After alleging that he was extorted by 3 police officers on June 2nd, hawker Lim Tiam Phuc decided to change his police statement and withdraw his allegation. However, at a press conference with Kepong MP Lim Lip Eng on Monday, the reasons behind his decision to retract his police statement also seemed to change. Initially, it was assumed that the 21-year-old hawker wanted to change his statement because he admitted to making false accusations and the whole extortion incident did not take place. During the press conference, Lip Eng denounced the hawker, who was with him, for having cheated the police, the media and the public.
I would like to apologize without any reservation to all parties, especially to the police force and to the media for the huge mistake I made over this incident, this false accusation by this young man, Aman.
However, Tiam Phuc denied lying and insisted he was extorted by 3 police officers. He stressed that the reason he changed his police statement was because he wanted the matter to be settled as soon as possible, due to the pressure he was facing. The hawker said he was overwhelmed by the continuous investigation by the police. On June 6, Tiam Phuc and his 13-year-old assistant, accompanied by Lip Eng, held a press conference during which Tiam Phuc claimed he was extorted by 3 police personnel. He said, when the police officers found out he did not have an approval letter from the International Trade and Industry Ministry to operate during the lockdown, they threatened to detain him and his assistant if they could not pay a fine of 3,000 ringgit. Tiam Phuc alleged the police officers also poured out his stool onto the ground, saying that they had to check for drugs before taking 500 ringgit from him to settle the issue.
Shellfish, red meat, and beer. If you love indulging in these foods, you may end up with high uric acid level in your blood. These foods consist high level of purine, a substance that will eventually break down into uric acid and be excreted through our urine. It is recommended that the amount of dietary purines should be kept between 600 to 1000 milligrams per day. Having too much uric acid in your blood can cause attacks of gout. It can also cause kidney stones and blockage in the kidney. The crystallization of the excessive uric acid in your blood can be eased by reducing purine-rich food to only 100 to 150 milligrams daily, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and consuming urinary alkalinizer like Ural. It consists of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and sodium citrate that increases the urinary pH and solubility of uric acid to prevent crystallization. Best of all, it's lemon-flavored and sugar-free. Ural, effective urinary alkalinizer. Neutralize your uric acid problem now.
Two high-profile UMNO leaders appear to have lost faith in the Perikatan Nasional Government's ability to pull us through the health crisis, and they have proposed a couple of solutions.
The country needs a transparent and trustworthy government to handle the worrying COVID-19 situation compounded by political instability. Speaking to Utusan Malaysia, former Second Finance Minister Johari Abdul Ghani said a capable temporary government is needed to manage the country in crisis. He added that this can be achieved by uniting all political parties. The former Titi Wangsa MP explained that the temporary government should be given enough time for it to focus on curbing the spread of COVID-19 while improving the vaccine rollout. While he did not suggest any names, he said the individual chosen to lead the temporary government should be someone who has no political baggage or self-interest and has no intention of participating in the next general election. Meanwhile, UMNO veteran Tengku Razali Hamzah called on the rulers to seek out a leader who is capable of leading the country during the current economic and health crisis. The Gua Musang MP did not suggest any solutions, but appeared not in favour of going through parliament, which he said was suffering from disabilities.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad. Thank you for watching.